now we go back into the oncoming lanes of traffic, and CHP with several vehicles right behind him, as well as an airship tracking this from overhead. But once again, Chuck, that pit maneuver has been authorized by CHP, so as soon as he slows down, we're going to see this pursuit hopefully come to a safe end. In the meantime, you can see he is back into the oncoming lanes of traffic. He has at points been predictable enough where they've been able to block upcoming intersections and allow for him to get right through. There you saw another example of that. CHP ready for him at this particular intersection and clearing out these southbound lanes. He's going northbound in the southbound lanes of Harbor Boulevard, again right next to Disneyland. Chuck?
So they've given the okay for the pit maneuver. If you recall, 2 weeks ago, we saw the pit maneuver actually performed on the freeway. So, it could happen at any time whenever they get the right opportunity, Chris.
That's exactly right. They're going to wait for him to slow down just a little bit. They're clocking him at about 45, 50 miles per hour. That's just above their threshold of 30 to the 35 area range where they want to see him slow down. And it's got to be in an area where there's no other pedestrians or innocent bystanders in the area. That's the key there, is that he can't be in an area where it's going to pose a hazard to other people. So he's in a populated area here. We're back in a residential neighborhood, still continuing northbound on Harbor Boulevard. CHP not going to let this guy go, and so far the only charge that we have is mail theft. Of course, there's a whole list of criminal charges stacking up against him every time he breaks the law here, so he's going to be going away for a while. But again, the original want at this point, from what we've heard, is mail theft. We don't have any details on those circumstances, except for the fact that that crime may have taken place in Laguna Hills. So again, we picked up this pursuit in the Irvine area. Again, not sure exactly how long they've been pursuing him, but again, they have 5 units right behind him here and a CHP helicopter directly overhead, Chuck.
One of the things that makes this so dangerous is the fact that when it's happening late on a Friday, the first full weekend before the Christmas holidays, so a lot of people are out. He's going through residential areas. He's been driving the wrong way. He's been going up over the curb whenever he finds himself in traffic. And we understand that there may be as many as 3 people in that car. Do you have any confirmation or information on that, Chris?
Well, that would jive with our original information that there was more than 1. That's the first time I've heard 3, but we definitely now believe there's more than 1 person in that car. We'll go ahead and zoom in here. I may be able to spot somebody in that passenger seat. Looks like that passenger side window is rolled. Well, it's hard to say, but it looks like there may be somebody. I do see some movement there in the passenger seat. So if we're hearing 3 people, that is consistent with the information we're getting up here. Again,
the same side, but in this case, they're just following him so closely, and when he goes into the wrong lanes, they move into the wrong lanes.
That's exactly right, and you're right. It is unusual. He might be making a U-turn here, slowing down just enough, but they're going to have to make that U-turn with him. Obviously, he didn't have anybody coming up in front of him there, but he just made that U-turn not quite slow enough for them to spin him out of control. But now he's reversing course here and going southbound. He's going to be going southbound on Harbor.
Okay, so he's now going southbound on Harbor, going back over the area he just came from. Once again, the traffic is very heavy out there. You can watch as he goes through the intersections here. They try to block off as many intersections as possible. There are at least 3 people in that vehicle, possibly 4, but we can only confirm that there are 3 people. One can only imagine what they're saying to the driver right now and where they intend to go or how they intend to have this end.
Yeah, it's no easy task in terms of predicting what his next move is, and so blocking those intersections and anticipating where they're going to have to cut off cross traffic, even where there's green lights. They want to have units ahead of him to block off that traffic so that he doesn't get into a head-on collision or into a T-bone accident with people going right through the intersection. They're just getting the green light, but he's going right through red lights, and that's obviously extremely dangerous. In this case, he's now done a U-turn, CHP having to reverse course now and start blocking intersections as he goes southbound. This is going to be, I didn't catch that intersection, but again, we're going southbound on Harbor Boulevard, coming up on Gilbert Street, I believe.
Okay, so we're going south, so we're going back toward the 5 freeway. And Chris, we understand that this is now officially a sheriff's pursuit. I don't know if they change lead cars there at all, or I guess that is a sheriff's. Is that a sheriff's or a highway patrol? It's hard to tell. It is.
Yeah, you're right. Sure enough, it is a sheriff's. Yeah, Orange County Sheriff now in pursuit here as they continue this. Now, we don't know exactly where they picked it up, where CHP originally picked it up, or
well, they
perhaps
picked it up on the
Irvine
freeway,
Police.
we understand, Chris. So,
Okay, so
but
most
it was only
likely-
briefly, and then when he got off onto surface streets, then I guess the sheriffs took over.
I could tell you he did a couple of circles around the Irvine Spectrum, obviously another well-populated area, especially this time of the day during the holiday season. You can only imagine the amount of traffic that there was down there, and pedestrians. He was driving and doing these same maneuvers in that area. That's where eventually they pulled off and eventually caught back up with him as CHP's helicopter was overhead. Now, as you mentioned, Orange County Sheriff's Department taking over this pursuit. They also have their air unit right there on the right side of your screen. And again, as you mentioned, this is now officially an Orange County Sheriff's pursuit. And now we're doing another about face here, another U-turn. You know, you almost saw an opportunity for them to kind of speed up behind him there, but I guess not. They didn't feel comfortable enough doing that, especially with other traffic in the area.
Hey, Chris,
But we're now reversing course once again here.
Would it be possible for you to give us just a little perspective? I mean, this is a great shot here, but maybe just so we kind of get an idea of where this guy is and what's going on with the traffic and what's going on in the neighborhood. Because he's gone up and down this street now, this is his second time. I would imagine that some of these intersections are blocked off. And once again, this individual is wanted for mail theft. And if you've been watching our news, we've done several reports. It is a crime of the season, and we had one last night where people have been going up after they've been following like Amazon delivery trucks or UPS or FedEx trucks around. And when they deliver a package, then these guys go up and take it off somebody's front porch. Now, we don't know that's exactly what happened here, but we do know that they're being pursued for a similar crime like that. Go ahead, Chris.
You're exactly right. Obviously, they're taking these crimes very, very seriously. It is the en vogue crime at this time of the year, but they are not going to let this guy get away with it. Obviously, it's a very serious crime, and we just don't know what else he may be wanted for in addition to mail theft. So obviously, by the way, mail theft, a federal crime, so feds will eventually be prosecuting this guy.
Yeah,
but Orange County Sheriff now coming up behind him. It looks like they're swapping out that primary unit for a different officer, and now we have another officer right behind him, and we'll try and get this cross street. You saw he made that turn there.
Yeah, he made a right turn.
And in this case, it is an Orange County Sheriff's police pursuit that they have been pursuing now for the better part of an hour. Going up on an hour now.
Yeah, there
again,
you can
this
see
all
the helicopter
originated
from the Sheriff's Department. We have a little bit more information. It was in Laguna Hills, and these individuals are wanted for stealing mail. So it's pretty much as we described. These individuals who wait for a delivery or something like that run up and grab a package or mail or what have you that is left on somebody's front porch. And we're turning again now off Brookhurst.
Off Brookhurst onto Lincoln Avenue. It looks like it's going to be a eastbound turn onto Lincoln. He was in the oncoming lanes of traffic once again there. There was no traffic in front of him, but he was able to make that left turn without any incident. There was no cross traffic either. But now you see OC Sheriffs closing in just a little bit. If he slows down anymore, they're going to bring this to an end. They're really anxious to bring this to an end. You could tell just how dangerous he's been driving, and the erratic moves and the behavior of this driver are really, really nothing to fool around with. And so OC Sheriff now very close behind him, looking for that opportunity to bring this to a safe conclusion. But this guy, again, showing no regards for anybody's safety here as he continues now eastbound on Lincoln from Brookhurst after a wild ride from Irvine. Again, this took us up into the Anaheim area, right past Disneyland, up along the 5 freeway, and now we are basically coming up on the Brookhurst Community Park area, if you're familiar with the area. Again, getting closer to the 5 freeway once again.
And now we're also seeing people, it's been going on for some time, obviously, people coming out on the sidewalk to kind of see what's going on as it goes around their neighborhood. One of the things, obviously, it's extremely difficult to get ahead of this individual because you're not sure exactly where the individual is going. And as Chris mentioned, well, there was one intersection that was blocked off. As Chris mentioned, the Orange County Sheriffs there have been given the go-ahead to go out and try the pit maneuver once they have the opportunity. And Chris, what is it they're looking for?
They're looking for him to slow down. That's the key. He's got to slow down, and he's got to slow down in an area where there's no pedestrians or other traffic in the area. So it's a challenging task. They have to wait for that right moment to get him. But right now we're going eastbound at just past Euclid, and we're coming up on the 5 freeway. He may choose to get back on the 5 freeway. As you mentioned a while back, Chuck, he was on the 5 freeway for a short time. That's how CHP caught on to him. And now it just is a matter of time to see whether he decides to get back back on the freeway or bypass the 5 freeway altogether. Again, we're eastbound on Lincoln. Yeah, Chuck, go ahead.
We have Lieutenant Jeff Halleck of the Orange County Sheriff's with us on the phone right now. Jeff, are you with us?
Hi, Chuck. How are you?
Yeah. What can you tell us about the want on this individual?
This vehicle, at this point, is wanted for theft of mail from a neighborhood in the city of Laguna Hills. Our deputies got a call
5 southbound
almost an hour and a half ago that there were suspects taking mail out of mailboxes or in or around houses in the Nellie Gail Ranch neighborhood in Laguna Hills.
Okay, so now he is southbound on the 5 freeway. Will the sheriffs continue to take the lead in this, or once he's on the freeway, does it go back to Highway Patrol? What happens here?
Once they get onto the freeway, we will look to have the California PD did move into position to take the pursuit over, but the suspect vehicle got off the freeway, so then we jump back in and maintain responsibility. Okay,
now as I understand, he's actually going north on the 5 freeway. That's the direction they're going. Do we know how many individuals are in that car? We had a report there were at least 3.
I don't have any confirmation of the number. I do know there's multiple suspects, but anything beyond that, I just don't know.
And then we also had a report that the pit maneuver had been authorized once the circumstances permitted, correct?
Those are always options that the deputies have. Again, there's several different intervention techniques that they could utilize, whether it's the pit maneuver or laying a spike strip or those types of things. But again, they're looking for that right time, whether it be the speed, the location, traffic, those types of things to be able to deploy some type of intervention technique.
Okay, so right now, although we're still in Orange County, we're in Anaheim, CHP is taking the lead because he's on the freeway. Should he move back onto surface streets, then you guys take over again, correct?
Typically, that's correct. At this point, I believe our units are still primary in the pursuit. We'll wait till CHP gets into position. Once they have enough units in position to take over the pursuit, we'll then back off and allow them to take over primary responsibility.
Now, Lieutenant, because we've done so many stories about this mail theft, and it seems to be a real crime of opportunity, especially during the holidays here, have you seen an increase in this type of crime?
I haven't, but typically, history has shown that during the holiday season, mail theft, identity theft, those types of crimes do increase just because of the increase in mail and money and checks and different things that are sent through the mail. So, I haven't seen any numbers to confirm that, but I think history has shown that it does increase.
All right. Lieutenant Jeff Halleck of the Orange County Sheriff's Department. Let's go back up to Chris Christie right now. Chris, so we are northbound on the 5 freeway about where?
Yeah, so we're coming up on Brookhurst again. We're northbound 5 freeway at Brookhurst. Now, what happened there is he was able to kind of put a little distance between him and the deputies behind him. It was actually the first time in this pursuit we actually saw him come in contact with another driver, scraped up against a car because he didn't really have enough room to get onto the entrance ramp of the 5 freeway. So he kind of shoved his way through, ended up on the transition ramp there, and then eventually onto the 5 freeway northbound. Again, deputies finally able to catch up with him here as he passes Magnolia. Again, 5 freeway at Magnolia. The next major interchange is going to be the 91. Yeah. And I could tell you that they're using every tool at their disposal, and from the air, they've been able to observe that he may be, and this is according to scanner traffic, that he may be reaching under the driver's seat for something. So not sure what that's all about, but that's an observation that they've reported.
Chris, you probably anticipate this next question. Like I said, it was a couple of weeks ago. We saw them perform the pit maneuver on the freeway, only in that case, it was a very crowded freeway. They went ahead and did it. Here it appears that there's not so much traffic around the individual. Makes you kind of wonder why they're not trying it here.
Well, first of all, he's going a bit too fast. Also, you have to remember we're now still with the Orange County Sheriff's Department who's pursuing him. CHP, they have their own policies, and they're a little more prepared to do that, especially on the freeway. Now, whether these officers in this shot are authorized to do a pit maneuver on the freeway, we'll try and get that information. I have some chatter in my ear here, but in the meantime, he's just pursuing him, waiting for CHP to get involved, as the lieutenant mentioned.
Yeah, so we should be getting up in the Buena Park area, I would imagine, right now.
And, yeah, we're in Buena Park, that's right.
And Chris, just according to Lieutenant Halleck, he indicated that once they got back on the freeway that the CHP was going to take the lead again. So I don't know if that's actually happened or if that's still a sheriff's SUV that's pursuing him.
That's what we often see in a case like this. It's just a matter of time before CHP gets their ducks in a row and catches up with the pursuit.
Yeah.
Surely they were probably monitoring the pursuit on the radio, but now they have to get units to catch up here and eventually take this over, because he could take this obviously all the way up the 5 freeway if he chose to until he runs out of gas. So now CHP will take it over eventually and basically hand it off to each CHP division office as he makes his way eventually into LA County. Right now we're coming up on Knott Avenue, so we're again, as you mentioned, through Buena Park, and sheriff's deputies continuing the pursuit until CHP arrives.
All right, and Chris made a really excellent point where he mentioned that it appeared that he might be reaching for something under the seat. You have to understand that there is a Sheriff's Department helicopter, if not more, that are flying much, much lower than we are, with very high-powered lenses on their camera. They can really get in there and see what's going on. So although it is difficult for us to see what may be going on inside, they have a real good idea of what the people in that vehicle are doing. And it looks like, well, maybe we're getting off and maybe we're just skirting around traffic.
Looks like he's skirting around. We'll try and keep an eye on him here, but he's definitely was in that exit lane for a second. Now riding the right shoulder. He's getting into a little bit of traffic here. I'll go ahead and widen out just a little bit just to give you an idea. It's some slow and go traffic northbound 5 freeway. Again, we're coming up on Valley View Avenue, and it's kind of stop and go. It's not exactly standstill traffic, but definitely a busy Friday afternoon here in Orange County, and looks like deputies continuing now as he gets back into the number 2 over to number 3, and I'm sorry, back into the number 1 lane there. So now he's back in the left lane, continuing, basically committed northbound to the 5 freeway.
People who've driven this many, many times know what happens here. You're getting up to this area where there is continued freeway construction. They've gotten much of the southern part of the freeway expanded, but it's the northern part. And as you get up there, you lose lanes, and it becomes much more of a bottleneck, especially as you get up around the, what is he doing there?
This is where we get to see just how desperate this guy is, unfortunately, because we've seen him now weaving through traffic. We've seen him get very close to other vehicles, and I suspect, Chuck, that he will have no problem pushing somebody out of his way if that's what it comes down to get through some of this traffic. It's something that we see all the time. We've seen him come in contact with at least one vehicle as he got onto the 5 freeway, and obviously at several points during this pursuit, he's been in wrong way traffic. So this is a guy with a lot of guts and just a lot of unpredictability in terms of what his next move is, and if he's desperate enough, he'll just shove folks right out of his way with this compact, looks like a newer model Toyota, possibly. Tough to say from this vantage point, but again, you can see they're not giving him much room to play with, only about a car length behind him. A little bit too congested for that pit maneuver that we talked about.
Yeah.
But,
here he's moving up. Well, you're
he's
right.
just weaving
he's just
through.
weaving all across the traffic there.
Yep, just
a lot of
too
people,
unpredictable.
Yeah, are trying to get out of the way. If you've ever seen a pursuit come up from behind, it's lights and siren. I mean, it's obvious that something's going on. So you can see people coming to a stop or trying to get out of the way as best they can.
That's right, because they can hear those sirens coming up behind them, just like we would normally hear those sirens, whether it's a fire truck or an ambulance or police activity. They know something's going on, and then you see the flashing lights, and you know that this is one of our LA pastimes here coming up right behind you. And so that's what we have here is a pursuit, a guy that's driving all over the road here, weaving through traffic, back into an exit lane, but not exactly committing to it. He's just trying to get around, so he's using that gore point to try and ride that shoulder now, and I believe this is going to be coming up on, we're past Valley View now, coming up on McCourt Avenue. McCourt Avenue, we're just past McCourt.
Okay, so we're making our way up the 5, so we're going north on the 5 as you watch this on your screen here.
Yeah, just passing La Mirada Creek. So he's, again, got some traffic coming up here. I don't see it really freeing up for him. It's going to be a lot of the same stop-and-go traffic here. So he's using these shoulders and using these gore points and some of the entrance and exit ramps to try and get around some of the traffic, but it's not enough to lose police, that's for sure. Deputies still in charge of this pursuit. CHP, I could tell you, I could hear them on the radio. They are trying to catch up with them, but of course, that traffic now posing a little bit of a problem for CHP. So it's going to be a little bit before CHP catches up. In the meantime, You can see that primary unit maintaining a pretty close distance, and now it looks like he's getting off. Now it looks like he's getting off at Carmelita Road,
okay,
I believe.
We know a lot of people are joining us as we watch this pursuit. It's now coming up close to 10 minutes after 4. The individuals in this car are wanted for mail theft in Laguna Hills. It's a story that we've done many times on the NBC4 News about mail being dropped off and individuals coming up to grab it, a crime which seems especially prevalent during the holiday season. This guy started out in the southern part of Orange County, and we've got him right now in the northern part of Orange County. Been on surface streets, been in the Anaheim area, been Buena Park, and now he has just exited the 5 freeways, continues to head north. Well, now we got the pursuit car coming up very close.
Yeah, we saw that was our first pit maneuver attempt here. Here comes another one. It looks like he's speeding up. He was slowing down just enough. You saw that deputy come up right along his right side, trying to tap that right rear bumper.
Did he actually tap it?
Here comes another one. Here comes another one. Here we go again. And he just misses him, just within inches of that bumper. So now this guy knows that these guys are not fooling around. Police are going to get this guy. The Department of the the Sheriff's Department determined to get this guy off of the road now. It's just a matter of time. But now you see, as they raise the stakes, he's going to speed up a little bit here. And once again, we'll see just how desperate this guy is. But now we're crisscrossing our way through La Mirada. Again, just off of the 5 freeway, making almost getting head on with that box truck there. Box truck not having any idea what's going on there in front of them. But now you see they're maintaining a very close distance here. I saw at least 2, maybe 3 failed pit maneuver attempts there, but it was just a little too close, and he was able to speed up just enough. Yeah, well,
you just want to tap that rear bumper. Just a tap is good enough to do it.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes. And here comes another attempt here. He's going to speed up a little bit. That's going to basically take the pit maneuver off the table, because if he's going too fast, it just becomes too dangerous, especially with other traffic. Now, that was the oncoming lanes of traffic that we were in there. We definitely don't want to see that, and now he's back into proper lanes of traffic as we come up on the 5 freeway again.
So we'll see whether he hops back on the 5 or continues on the surface streets here.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting close to Rosecrans Avenue. I'm not sure if this is Rosecrans. We're going to try and get this crossed, but you can see deputies still closely behind him here, following closely behind him. CHP never had the opportunity to join the pursuit yet, even though we were on the 5 freeway for a few minutes, but certainly CHP is monitoring this, as are each jurisdiction he's traveling through. But again, Orange County Sheriff's deputies in full control here, and there was another opportunity.
Yeah.
But it just a little bit too close, and he's going a little too quick. Again, we were on Carmenita there, turning off of Carmenita. Here comes another one coming up on the left side now. Driver's left side, you see the Explorer coming up closely behind him, and this may be the opportunity, but he's speeding up. See, that's the problem. He's speeding up, and we see those near misses, you know.
Yeah, it has to be very, very timed. One of the things we haven't seen here, but he's been doing it throughout this pursuit, is crossing into the wrong lanes of traffic. Indeed, hopping right over the medial strip if he has to get around pursuing officers.
Yeah, you know, this is a well-practiced maneuver that they practice all the time. Driver training here in Orange County, as well as CHP. There's another one. As you mentioned, now he almost pushed him into oncoming lanes of traffic, and now he is in the wrong lanes of traffic here. So there's an example of, you try to pit him. You saw an opportunity there. They pulled up right behind him. He resorted to last-ditch efforts there, and is now traveling in the oncoming lanes of traffic here through Orange County, Chuck.
Has he moved into Norwalk yet? Or we must be pretty close.
Yeah, we are in the Norwalk area, so we're now getting into LA County's jurisdiction. But in the meantime, I can tell you that Orange County is still the agency pursuing here. And obviously, we have the sun in our eyes. We'll see. He's coming underneath the 5 freeway, and sure enough, we are now in LA County, Chuck. LA County and Orange County right behind him here. You'll have to excuse the sun glare here.
That's okay.
as we make our way, continuing northbound, paralleling the 5 freeway. And it looks like I think we're on Imperial Highway as he continues now westbound on Imperial. Orange County still looking looking for that sweet spot there, that golden opportunity to come up right behind him and spin him out of control. We've seen several attempts, but none of them have been successful. So far, I have not observed the OC Sheriff's Department actually come in contact with him yet, just within inches at points. But now we're back in oncoming lanes of traffic. It always a scary thing when we see him come in this type of situation.
We'll let our viewers know that's just a sun flare. As you know, if you take pictures, you sometimes get them on your lens there. As he positions around, it's going to go away, which it just did.
That's right. So now we're able to push in a little bit here, and you can see this particular primary unit is determined. Oh, that was the suspect went around an innocent bystander there, the sheriff's deputy going around the other side and maybe trying to catch up with him once again for another pit maneuver. But there's cars on the roadway here. They do not have the road to themselves, and so this is always going to be a dicey situation where you have this much traffic around you. But as you can see, this deputy is determined to get this guy off the road. But now we're again back into the oncoming lanes of traffic. This is fair to say this is now a wild police pursuit. I mean, we've seen this guy up to all kinds of no good this afternoon. Very dangerous driving, and once again now in the proper lanes, the westbound lanes of Imperial Highway, as we come up on the 605 here momentarily, Chuck.
All right, so to bring you up to speed once again, to use the euphemism there as we watch this pursuit, this began in Laguna Hills. The suspects are wanted for mail theft, going up to somebody's home and stealing packages or letters or what have you. And that's where the pursuit started in Laguna Hills. And then it pursued through the southern part of Orange County, got on and off the freeway in the Anaheim and the Buena Park areas. Then we went up into La Mirada, and now we're in Norwalk. So we're actually in Los Angeles County at this point, but still Orange County sheriffs are still pursuing this individual. And from time to time, we'll see the Orange County sheriff's helicopter. Whoops. Almost tried it there. I thought he was going to make a U-turn.
Off of Imperial, made a right turn northbound off of Imperial. You saw he almost had another opportunity to pit him there. And I got to tell you, Chuck, it's a miracle at this point with the amount of time that we've spent in oncoming lanes of traffic. It's absolutely astounding that we have not seen more traffic collisions associated with this pursuit. But once again, almost losing police there, but they're managing to stay very close behind him here. Obviously, a very experienced deputy pursuing him. Now we're in a residential neighborhood. He's speeding up. He knows that this sheriff's deputy is going to look for every opportunity to end this pursuit, and this guy obviously desperate to get away. Again, we know there's approximately 3 people inside the car here, Chuck, and so it's just a matter of time before they eventually get this guy off the road. But with the driving he's been doing, they will not let this guy go. It's not the kind of pursuit where they'll just call it off and see what happens later, catch up with them later. It's not like that at all. They're going to get this guy. He is just way too dangerous.
And even after the pursuit, the chase ends, it becomes a very difficult situation because we're not just dealing with one person, one driver. We're dealing with multiple individuals, at least 3 people in that car. You don't know what they're going to do or where they're going to go. And as Chris mentioned earlier, they saw an individual reaching under the seat, possibly for something, a weapon perhaps. So it is a very, very volatile situation. Even after the pursuit comes to a conclusion, it's still going to be a very tense time for officers. Chris?
Yeah, and they are expecting that. They know that this guy could very well run out of gas, or the car could become immobilized, and that eventually bringing the vehicle to a stop. What happens next, though, is anybody's guess. They can sit in there for a couple hours, or as you mentioned, they can all get out of the car and go and split up, go in 3 different directions, and just jump into a neighborhood and try and hide for a few hours. So any number of options here. Hopefully this comes to a safe conclusion, but at these speeds and with this type of driving, it's just so unpredictable, and that is the primary reason we're bringing you these pictures live this afternoon here at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon going into Christmas week. I could tell you we've seen a lot of traffic, and well, the proof is in the pudding here. Just a lot of cars on the road to deal with. And every time he jumps into oncoming lanes of traffic, my heart skips a beat because you just don't know. Here comes another pit maneuver attempt, and he's making a right turn. So there you see this deputy doing all of the right things, trying to bring this to an end, getting ever so closer behind him, but he manages to. Now we're in a parking lot. We'll try and widen out. What kind of a parking lot is this?
Let's see. Cul-de-sac or something.
Took it into a parking lot. Yeah. And now back onto another major street. Now, if you notice, now we have a new primary unit closest behind here. He almost lost that original unit, but there's so many deputies and CHP units, and I guess L.A. County just within seconds of this scene. Now here comes Orange County
Missed
right
it.
behind him with another failed pit
Did he go
maneuver
up on the
attempt.
curb, the officer?
But that time. I saw contact. That time it looks like he actually was able to tap him for the first time. Orange County deputies able to tap that bumper, but it was just a little too soft, and this guy's going just a little bit too quickly for them.
It almost looked like the Orange County sheriff, so I guess who's the one that did the tap there, then went up onto the curb after he did the tap.
Yeah, so we just went, I believe that was the 605. We actually went underneath the 605 is what we saw there. And so now we're continuing westbound. This is westbound Imperial Highway, now going to parallel the 105. We're well into L.A. County's jurisdiction here, but as you mentioned, Chuck, Orange County deputies still the lead agency in this pursuit. As we originated out of the Laguna Hills area, we were on the 5 freeway through Irvine. He jumped off of the freeway for a while. Now here we have some more traffic. We haven't seen him come to a lot of stops. Now he's been coming to a pause here, making another northbound turn, and I don't see any deputies here in the shot. So now they have to make their way through that traffic at that intersection on the Imperial Highway and catch up with him. But have no fear, the helicopters overhead are monitoring his each and every move as he now makes his way further north into L.A. County. We're coming up into the Downey area, Chuck.
So now we've gone to Downey, so we've gone from Laguna Hills all the way up to Downey, on and off the freeways and surface streets and near the Disneyland area, past Knott Boulevard, and now,
and really picking up speed here just in the last few seconds. You know, I think he saw an opportunity to lose police there. He jumped off of the 105, was able to squeeze his way through traffic. There were a number of deputies behind him, but they were stuck in that same traffic, and it was a little bit too much congestion. But as you saw there, L.A. County Sheriff now overhead, going to probably take over this pursuit officially in just moments. It's just a matter of time before L.A. County deputies take over this pursuit. Now we've made, I believe, an eastbound turn off of Bellflower. So we're eastbound off of Bellflower, heading back towards the 605, and this driver, while he thinks he may have gotten away, certainly has a whole other thing coming, because it's just a matter of time before they catch up. We don't see any deputies right behind him in this shot, but L.A. County now calling out his each and every move, monitoring him from the sky, and again, just a matter of time before deputies catch up with him once again and bring this to an end. But you saw such a valiant effort by that Orange County Sheriff's deputy. I counted at least 7 or 8 pit maneuver attempts where he came up right behind him, and that last attempt, you almost thought, here we go, over median, on the median, skirting oncoming lanes of traffic and a traffic jam to his right. What he decides to do here, this is just so dangerous, getting really close to oncoming traffic here, and now he's got that driver's side window. This is the first glimpse of the driver that we've been able to see here, but now we've turned around and clearly picking up speed, thinking he may have a chance to outrun cops here. I just don't think he's going to be able to do it, because again, they have helicopters overhead monitoring his each and every move. So it's just a matter of time, but in the meantime, he's really raising the stakes here, going much faster than I think we've seen all afternoon, especially on surface streets, Chuck.
So from his vantage point down there, you're saying that he probably doesn't see black and white units?
I don't think he sees them behind him. We'll go ahead and widen out. We'll try and confirm that here, but I don't see any black and whites behind him. And I think he managed, okay, there's one about a block away. Again, he's making twists and turns here. Just made a right turn, I believe a northbound turn, possibly Lakewood Boulevard here. But he made a northbound turn, and the closest black and white is at least a few blocks away, Chuck.
I wish I had the statistics in front of me, but it is extremely rare that even if black and white units aren't following the individual, that they can elude the helicopter. I mean, it night or day, they've got a bead on this person, and they will be caught.
It's very rare. I mean, one comes to mind a couple of months ago. We saw a guy jump out of the car and climb into a sewer. But you're right. It's just so rare that they actually get away. And remember, with helicopters overhead here and L.A. County taking over the pursuit, they're more likely going to follow him from above for a little while and track his movements instead of being too aggressive. as a matter of procedure, LA County Sheriff's deputies are just a little bit more conservative than the other agencies in our area, and they're going to be particularly careful here, especially with the maneuvers and the erratic driving that we've seen this afternoon. They don't want to spook the guy, and they're just a little bit more cautious here in LA County. Now, if he takes it into LAPD's jurisdiction, it's a whole nother can of worms. But for now, he's in LA County's jurisdiction, and they may very well opt to just track him from above, and that's what we're seeing here, Chuck. Now making a number of twists and turns, thinks he's got away, but he is definitely under the close eye there.
Are we still in Downey?
We are still in Downey. We're in the heart of Downey now.
Okay.
In the Florence, Lakewood Boulevard area, and again, he's picking up a little bit of speed. We'll try and get a cross street for you here, but we're just west rather, of the 605.
Well, you can understand some benefits of that policy, perhaps the Sheriff's Department, of not being quite as aggressive. It dampens down the danger somewhat, especially when you got a guy like this who will go in and out of traffic, do just about anything to elude officers. Perhaps he'll slow down a bit. It looked like he probably threw something out of the vehicle or ran over something back there.
Yeah, we're back on a surface street paralleling Lakewood Boulevard. So we're going northbound through Downey in a residential neighborhood. Very unclear whether he's familiar with this neighborhood, but you see him just twisting and turning through this residential street. And it's a little peculiar, unless he's got GPS in there. It's a little unusual to see these guys jump into a residential neighborhood that they're really unfamiliar with. It's just way too easy to run into a cul-de-sac, but he's making a number of twists and turns, and it almost looks like he's doing a circle. Now, if he continues to kind of loop around this neighborhood here, that's going to provide plenty of opportunity for LA County to take position around this neighborhood and eventually rejoin the pursuit on the ground. But for the time being, LA County is taking this over from the air, and they're just basically tracking his each and every move, Chuck.
Okay, and on the screen, we've done a split screen here, Chris, because I know you can't see it, but you can see some of the pit maneuvers that very valiant Orange County sheriff's officer there kept trying. And there was one right there, but never quite made it. Chris counted, I think, 7 or 8 attempts that he made.
Yeah, and as I zoom out here, we can confirm that there is...
oh, my gosh, look at that area.
No police anywhere near here. LA County, Orange County, or CHP, they've all kept their distance at this point. He does have a cul-de-sac coming up, but it looks like he's going to avoid it. And that's what I mean. He may have GPS inside this vehicle that's allowing him to kind of traverse this neighborhood of Downey, but it's just a matter of time before he eventually corners himself.
I mean, that's a really revealing wide shot that you gave us. This is pretty much totally then, Chris, an airship pursuit right now. Whoops, look at that. You mentioned a cul-de-sac, and there you got a fence across the road there. Now he's backing up, turning around, trying to get out of there. But there are no units on the ground. But the airship overhead, as you can see, they will not lose him.
Yeah, the airship is following this very closely. You saw there was a parking lot that he saw was going to be his dead end, and now he's basically reverse course, and now we're paralleling the 605. So we're just on the other side of that wall against the freeway here. You'll see the suspect coming up behind him here, and again, no other units directly behind him, only that LA County Sheriff's helicopter directly overhead here, John.
And remember that the pilot, there's 2 people, and there's a spotter and a pilot, they're in contact with the units on the ground, so they're kind of directing things from the airship like a coach and the football team, so they can tell the officers where they think they ought to be, position themselves. And, this guy could be in real trouble if he gets into a residential area like this and is unfamiliar with it, like we just saw, maybe run into a dead-end street, a parking lot, or a cul-de-sac or something like that. So there's a lot going on that we can't see.
That's right. I should clarify. We're actually, through all these twists and turns, we've made our way a little bit further to the south. So we're very close to the 5 and the 605, but he's continuing southbound and not really pushing the limits here. He's not breaking any speed records. He's kind of traveling very casually through this residential neighborhood. You see pedestrians have no idea who this guy is or what's going on.
No idea whatsoever.
With the type of driving that he's capable of, it's just a nerve-wracking situation every time you see pedestrians or any bystanders anywhere near this guy. But without police on his tail, he's more likely just going to kind of drive around and hopes that he can find a spot to maybe bail the car. We don't know if it's his car, by the way. It could very well be a stolen car. So often it is. But as far as we know, the only information we have confirmed is that this is a mail theft suspect. Yeah. So who the car belongs to and where it's registered and all of that information is unknown to us, but very well known by now to law enforcement.
Obviously, we keep talking about a male suspect, but there are at least three individuals in the vehicle, if not more, but three that we have confirmed. Also watching all of this with us as we come up on 4:30 now is Colleen Williams. This has been quite a pursuit, Colleen.
Oh, it really has.
Over, around, just about everywhere.
It really has, Chuck. And watching the pit maneuvers that were
oncoming traffic here. Okay. I mean, they just almost darted into traffic there. There was cross traffic onto this major street here, and he's still showing signs of desperation as he'll just jump right in front of traffic to continue here. But this is with no law enforcement behind him. So it's in front of other cars, and here he gets a little more traffic, and now through a gas station. You saw that traffic, and now he's looking for an opportunity to just cut through a gas station, a black and white right behind him now, and we'll see if LA can. Here comes the foot bail. Here comes the foot bail. 1, 2 suspects in the car, 3 suspects in the car, 1 female, 2 males running in 3 different directions. And there's the driver. Let's stick with the driver, Alex. You see the driver now running down the block. They bailed out of the car right at that gas station. Thought maybe he had an opportunity to hide, but it's come to an end here. He's got his arms up, and Downey police will take this guy down until he gives it. There we go. Downey police with the suspect at gunpoint, and this pursuit has come to an end, and albeit a safe end, thankfully, here in the city of Downey at a gas station. He dumped the car, 3 suspects, 2 males, 1 female, splitting up in 3 different directions. We'll see if the other 2 are in custody. I'll go ahead and back up here and see what see where they ended up here. Don't see any other activity, but there's the vehicle. You can see
Chris, take us just for a second through the gas station area here. I mean, what's going on here? All of a sudden you're pumping gas, you're a customer there. You see this car come through, 3 people bail out, then you see the black and whites pull in. What's it like there? Can you describe it?
Yeah, so it's a crowded gas station, plenty of folks filling up on a holiday week here, and it looks like he saw an opportunity to cut through the gas station and eventually maybe just continue the pursuit, but it just looks like he ran out of steam and decided to give it up and thought he might be able to outrun the cops on foot, but Downey police just had too many police officers in position here. They were ready for him. LA County was monitoring this, and LA County sheriff's deputies in the helicopter were pursuing him from above. But Downey police were just, they had the area saturated waiting for this guy to make a move, and he eventually gave up the vehicle there, and there he is, the driver there in a red t-shirt, red shorts, now being taken into custody. We do not yet know the fate of the other 2, but just based on what we saw, it looks like they didn't exactly have the stamina to run for it either. So I would imagine that they are in custody by now. We're trying to confirm that, but the pursuit, thankfully, Chuck and Colleen, has come to an end here.
And 2 of them were pretty slow to come out of the car there. Hey, Chris, before we leave you, I want to tell people we have crews en route to the area. Can you give us an exact location here? I think you said he was headed northbound on Lakewood. Where's that gas station?
At Lakewood Boulevard at Florence Avenue. So it's the gas station right there on the corner in the heart of Downey, just off of the 5 freeway, is where this all came to an end this afternoon.
All right, Chris Christie, another excellent job as we watch this pursuit. Like I say, it started in Laguna Hills and ended up way up here in Downey. So it lasted a long time. And once again, you can try, but you're not going to outrun the helicopter or those units on the ground.
Truer words, Chuck, truer words. All right, we will have the very latest. We have crews en route to the area, and we'll have the very latest in about less than 30 minutes at 5 o'clock. We'll see you then.
2 people on board, the 2 males. Look at that. Oh, right around cars right there, right through that intersection. Another officer joining in the pursuit there, but a really close call. That officer had that intersection shut down, but really close call from those cars. 2 southbound on the frontage road now, Valley View there. U-turn, right to Valley View, northbound. Oh, look at this, coming up like to do a pit maneuver. Let's see if it happens. Here it is. There's a pit maneuver in the works. And there it goes, right there, pit maneuver, the truck, spinning the truck out of control there, backwards down the street, a perfect pit maneuver, but look at that. He comes back into a forward motion and goes. No, he's taken off. That pit maneuver not working there. A good attempt there by that officer, but it continuing on now. Maybe they'll do it again. Let's see what happens here. Yep, here it goes, another pit right there at that intersection, onto the sidewalk, into a sign. And no, he's going to keep going. This guy's determined. Here we go, 3 officers now on the vehicle. They got 1 against the passenger door, pushing him down the street. And no, he takes off. Unbelievable. And look at this, another, he's out. He's into a cul-de-sac. The driver and passenger foot bail.
We have breaking news in La Mirada where police are looking for at least 2 suspects following a pursuit. Gil Levis following the pursuit from News Chopper 4 right before the driver and passenger made a run for it. Gil.
Well, this was a wild pursuit here in La Mirada through surface streets and into neighborhoods in and out off of Rosecrans Boulevard. Now let's go to some tape that we shot exclusively earlier in this pursuit with this black pickup truck. Now it was going at high rates of speeds in and out of traffic, running red lights, running stop signs, coming really close to getting into crashes. And at one point the officer said that enough's enough. They tried a pit maneuver, and when they did so, they were able to successfully spin that truck out of control. That truck went backwards down the street and then ended up in a forward position and then took off again. And then a second pit maneuver was performed right there about 100 feet further down the road at an intersection, pinning it against a sign on the corner. But again, that driver said, no way, I'm taking off, continued on, and that driver of the officer's unit pushed the car down the street, actually, with 2 other units in tow, continuing on, and that truck just continued to take off, ending up here in this cul-de-sac on Roma Drive. That's when the driver and passenger bailed out and ran across the road, actually a wash area right there in the center of your screen. And now the search is on for those 2 suspects. The police are searching the area with an airship. They do believe they have one of the suspects pinned down in this house here on the corner near White Rock Drive. But again, the search continues for 2 pursuit suspects. We don't know what the initial want was on the vehicle, but again, a very dangerous pursuit here in the city of La Mirada. That's the very latest in News Chopper 4. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Gil. I want to update our breaking news now in La Mirada, where police have surrounded a house. They think at least one of those pursuit suspects ran into the house. Gil Levis is over the scene at News Chopper 4. Gil.
Kathy, this is where the pursuit came to an end on Roma Drive here, and Buena Park PD was in pursuit of that truck. It was a very dangerous high-speed chase through the city streets here, and at one point they tried 3 pit maneuvers on that vehicle, unsuccessfully doing so, and then ended up here in this neighborhood. Now the search is underway for 2 suspects that jumped out and ran. I can tell you that the police helicopter is telling us that there is live ammunition found inside that truck. That's the very latest in News Chopper 4. I'll send it back to you.